All right, we're going to talk about hiking elopement logistics today, which I'm super stoked about. Hiking elopements are something that I mean, personally, I don't think I've learned it from anybody. I've been doing it for 5 years now and kind of combined my experience as an adventurer and a hiker and someone who I grew up here in Colorado, and it's super beautiful. Wish you could see how it looks like outside right now. It's this gorgeous spring day. It'll probably snow in 2 days, but it's very beautiful and sunny here today. Colorado, the weather is super unpredictable, but we have amazing mountains here. And so when I started photographing elopements that had hiking involved, it was great to be able to kind of combine my outdoor experience with my experience shooting 5 years of traditional weddings. So I have this kind of cool hybrid approach to the gear that I bring. Some of it is stuff that I learned through little tips of being a big traditional wedding photographer, and the little things that can happen on a wedding day and what extra little gear you might need. And the rest of the stuff that I bring is specifically just outdoor related. So I'm stoked to show you guys all of the various gear stuff that's behind me, because there's a lot more involved with hiking elopements than I think a lot of people realize. They are quite difficult. They require just being exceedingly more prepared than I think any other type of wedding day that I've ever shot, because you're combining all of the possibilities that can happen just on a wedding day with all the possibilities that can happen outdoors. There's a lot of things that can come up that are unforeseen. So we're going to talk about all of that today. So the first thing I want to dive into, because it's super fun and tangible, is this gear stuff behind me. So I'm going to lay it all out. Hopefully you guys can see everything here. So the first thing I'm going to show everyone is just my different bags of gear, what I have, and why I've chosen the gear that I have. It's been something that I've developed over a long time and tried to find the best solutions possible. And so my kit and my setup has definitely morphed and changed over the years, and all the stuff that I bring has morphed and changed. So I'm pretty stoked about this setup I have right now. Spent last weekend we literally, Amber and Tori and I laid out all of our gear, all of our camera gear, all of our adventure gear, all of our hiking elopement stuff. We just made sure we were all completely geared up for the season, which was super fun. And then, so it is already kind of set up. So we'll check it out and let me know at any time if you guys have any questions in the chat. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions that were dropped in the Weddings in Wanderlust Facebook group. Thank you guys so much for dropping those. And if you're not in my Facebook group, definitely join that. And we put out live videos every week, and you can ask questions live or in the group beforehand. So cool. All right, let's jump in and talk about hiking elopement stuff. So hopefully you guys can see all of this as I do it. So first of all, this is all of my regular camera gear. This is my current fit, all of my stuff, all of my camera stuff anyway. Bag, this is a ultralight bag from, is there a brand name on here? Yeah, it's from F-Stop, I know. Oh, there it is. This is their Bouquet ultralight bag. It's 30 liters. It fits pretty much any international carry-on size, which is great. This is just what I use to lug all of my camera gear around from place to place. I personally don't like roller bags. I live on a dirt road. I'm always getting in and out of parking lots and Airbnbs and different places that don't have pavement or sidewalks. And I just found the rolly bag to be extremely annoying. So I just like that I can throw it onto my back and just carry all of my stuff. The bag itself is extremely lightweight, which I love, because your camera gear is heavy enough, and bags like roller bags, if you ever have to pick it up, the bag I have itself weighs 15 pounds by itself, and I think it weighed 12 pounds by itself, but Pelican cases weigh 15 pounds just on their own, and then you can fill it with gear. And if you don't have a place where you can roll it and you have to pick it up, it is a pain in the ass. So this is my solution of just moving my gear from place to place. I'm not hiking with this bag. I'm going to show you my hiking bag solution. in a second. We're gonna actually get all geared up for a hiking elopement in a sec. So let's see. So how should I do this? Yeah, let's go ahead and just show that hiking setup. So if I am headed to an elopement where I'm needing to hike more than a couple of miles, if it's a really short hike, like let's say Taft Point, for example, it's just like 2 miles essentially, and I like to kind of shoot all the way down and all the way back. And so for me, it's not like, okay, let's gear up and like, let's chuck it up this mountain. And then like when we get to the top, we'll stop and take photos. If it's a really short hike like that, my setup is normally just to put two of my bodies on my dual camera harness. So this is my current dual camera harness. This is from RL Handcrafts, which I like a lot. I like these holes in it, so it's not like very sweaty. So if I'm just doing a really, really short elopement, that's just like less than two, like the short hike for an elopement, like it's less than 2 miles. It's nothing like crazy or strenuous. It's not gonna take extremely long. I'm not really gonna get sore from carrying my gear like this. Then I would just rock like 2 bodies, my favorite lenses, most likely a 35-85 or maybe a 35-70-200 on my 2 different bodies. And I carry the rest of the lenses in a shoot sack over my shoulder so that I can have extra access to these. I freaking love this shoot sack. It is also extremely lightweight. It's made of neoprene and it can fit all of the extra stuff that I need. And it's just a really comfortable shoulder bag that kind of hugs your hip, and you can wear it crossbody too. I really like it. So if it's something extremely short, that's my setup. If it's longer than that, and if I know like I'm carrying a bunch of gear and it's like, okay, we are, this couple's eloping at this high alpine lake, it's 5 miles up, you know, we just need to get to the top, like that's where we're planning on doing the majority of the photos. Like, yes, I'll be taking photos along the way for hiking, but it isn't, it is long enough that, you know, I'm going to start getting kind of sore with this setup for, you know, an elopement like that. Also, I'm needing to bring a lot more gear, a lot more water, a lot more food, a lot more essentials for a hike that's that length because you're so far away from the car and you want to be prepared. So I'll share my hiking elopement setup here. So always bring tons of water, obviously. I like bringing a tripod to hiking elopements, especially for nighttime star photos. This is a Gorilla Pod by Joby, which I really, really like this guy. It's small and I can just stick it on like any terrain, any surface set up extremely quickly, which I really like even in the dark when I can't really totally see what's going on. So cool. So this is the much requested hiking elopement bag setup. So the reason why I developed this was because I became extremely frustrated with all of the quote unquote like hiking adventure camera gear bags that I all thought, like I've tried all of them. I think like they are all pretty crap. And the reason why is I feel like bags are either made to hike actually, or they're made to fit your gear. And I have never found one that really does both well. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Most hiking camera gear bags have back panel openings. So instead of having this really nice, you know, this airflow, this really good frame that's like really built to attach to your body and to distribute the weight in a really like comfortable way that you can hike miles and miles and miles and not have pain. Like I have not found a single bag that was built to hold camera gear that was as good as just like my trusty day pack. You know, this is a Gregory, Gregory, it's actually a men's because I have kind of a long torso, and it's a 30 liter, there's Zulu 30. The other day on my Instagram, I demonstrated, I did this to Tori's pack. And hers is an Osprey. So the great thing about being able to kind of hack your own hiking bag is, you know, most people who are hikers, like they have their favorite day pack that fits them. It's like, you know, the torso is the right size, the hip belts are in the right place, it's been fitted to you. If you don't have a hiking, like a really solid hiking day pack, there's a couple of things to look for, like go to an REI or somewhere where they really understand, someone, an expert, can help you pick the right one and fit it to your body. That is so, so key to you being able to hike and not have pain long-term, especially with the amount of weight that I carry for hiking elopement. It's a lot more weight than I would normally carry just to hike by myself, because obviously there's a ton of camera gear and other stuff in there that you don't normally take on a day hike. You don't normally take like 6 lenses on a day hike. So the couple of things that I look for and why I chose this Gregory pack was these amazing, really, really fat hip belts. I found that it's hard to find a pack that was only 30 liters that had hip belts that were built tough enough to really properly distribute the weight of all of the camera gear that I was carrying. Like typically, like a lot of smaller packs have like really wimpy hip belts. Like they're like, oh, it's a 30 liter, you're not carrying that much weight, you don't need a huge hip belt. So that's one of the biggest things that I looked for to find this one. And you can see I have a bunch of other stuff attached to it randomly. This is a lens cleaning cloth, which is super cool. I have a an extra light compass, thermometer. I find it's really useful to know how cold it actually is. I'm typically pretty bundled up, and it helps me make decisions on like how long we stay in a place, what kind of poses I'm doing. If I know like, hey, it is actually 45 degrees up here, so we should probably make this quick. So yeah, so I'm really excited to be putting out like an exact tutorial on exactly how I made this and all of the pieces and where you can buy all of the things to hack this bag, but I'll just show you generally how it works. So I've taken my normal Gregory pack and I've added 4 straps to it, which has turned it into both a dual camera harness and like a spider holster for carrying your cameras on your hips in a way that's like perfectly, properly weight distributed. And I've gone through many versions of this. I actually found, when I was setting up for this, I found like old straps from an old pack and like old lobster claws that like, this is like Mark 1 of these crappy lobster claws, and like they kind of rusted and didn't really work very well. But so I've gone through like many versions of this and come up with a solution that I think is pretty kick-ass. So I'm gonna put out an exact tutorial with all this stuff, but essentially there's 4 straps. So there's two straps that that I've added to the top of the pack, and I've sewn these on with a sewing awl because this is really, really thick webbing that I got at like a outdoor gear store. You can find this usually in like the fishing supplies, weirdly enough, fishing or camping. I'm just like extra webbing. So I got extra webbing, and I have a really nice thick metal lobster claw on this one, and this is going to hook on to my cameras, and I have one on each side. The thing is though, unlike a dual camera harness, I'm not actually carrying my camera weight on this because that would pull on the shoulder, and that's counterproductive. So there's 2 other straps that I've added to the hip belts on this. Essentially the lens sits in here, and then this is you know, wrapped around you. The lens sits in here, and so all the weight is actually on your hips when you're carrying your camera gear. It is not on your shoulders at all. So I'm gonna set this up and show you guys how this works. So basically, let's pull out all my camera gear that I would take to a hiking elopement. Saying, hey baby, it's okay, it's just me. Sorry, my dog's here. Cool. So take my shoot sack. I put in the lenses that I'm not going to be shooting with while I'm hiking up. This is how I gear up for hiking elopements. So yes, I bring my 7200 on hiking elopements because it's my favorite lens. Let's say I'll also put a 50, and let's put a 24 in here. This is like, maybe it's a really wide high alpine lake. So I have like three other lenses in here, a bunch of extra batteries, memory cards, whatever. This becomes my camera insert. So yes, you could totally put just like a normal foam insert, but I found like this is more space saving, and then it doubles because I can just pull it out and use it as my lens bag when I'm shooting. So this just goes inside my 30-liter pack, and Proper weight distribution for a pack is you want the heaviest stuff to be low and against your back. So that is where I'm going to put this. So I have my shoot sack with all my lenses going, and it's sitting in here, like low and as far as possible to my back. So that's where that's sitting. You know, and I'd have my extra kit and snacks and like all the things that I need for hiking elopement, a bunch of things that I bring extra for my clients, which I'll show in a second. That's all gonna be sitting in there. So this is ready to put on, and let me move this out of the way. Cool. So I have the hip belts, and I'm gonna go ahead and clip this together. You can see the strap here and the strap here. So this is sitting like right where I like it, right above my hips. So the way that you know a pack fits you really well is this. So I have a 7200 and two other like pretty heavy lenses in here. And look at this. There is like literally no weight on my shoulders. Like, because this is tight to my body and this is weight distributed properly, like literally there's no weight. I have absolutely nothing pulling down on my shoulders. This strap is holding the straps together so I don't have to like hold the pack on. And then this is where all the weight is going. So all the weight's being distributed properly. It has a proper frame. Like I said, I've not found a single like adventure camera bag that had a weight distribution system that was as good as like an Osprey or a Gregory or a Kelty, like just really solid, trusted day pack. They just, for whatever reason, always make them like back panel openings with this like crappy foam stuff that is like not the same. It is not freaking the same. So anyone who hikes a lot would agree with that. So, okay, so how do I shoot while I'm hiking? So again, remember there's two extra straps up on the top. I've clipped this to this so that it doesn't swing everywhere. Cool. This one is twisted. All right, so I have two extra straps on top. I have this hanging here. So let's put my trusty 35 and 85 combo, because I want to be able to like have quick access to my gear and take photos as I hike up and down. I have these tethers on the bottom. So this clips onto this strap, which again is attached to the top of my pack, but it's not actually going to hold any weight because this just slides in here. So the strap is like wrapped around the lens and it's just going to hang out there. And this is going to hang out on the other side. Boom. So I have both of my cameras on my hips. This is like really solid and stable. These like literally don't move. They're not going to go anywhere. Like I can hike and I can climb and I can like get on top of stuff, and like this is not in my way. They're not swinging around, bouncing, hitting anything. They're like literally just strapped to my hips. So look at this. There's still absolutely no weight on my shoulders. I can hike like this for days. I'm carrying so much weight and so much camera gear right now, and I don't even feel it because it's all on my hips. It's properly weight distributed. It's amazing. So I'm gonna check on the questions really quick. If anyone has questions about this hiking setup, go ahead and, what's that neoprene lens bag? It's called a shoot sack, SHOOTSAC. Cool. Would it work with your tiny Fuji lenses? Need to test. Yeah, I'd test it out. So I have this pretty wide. I have this sitting pretty, like this strap goes all the way from here to here so that I can fit this in and out. And yeah, it took some time to figure out, okay, what's the proper length that this is tight enough to hold my gear, but also loose enough that I can quickly take it out. So I'm sure there's other solutions of how to like mount something on your hips. I found this to just be the easiest because I literally just have to add 4 straps to my pack to make this happen. And so basically I can hike for days Everything is connected and it's not going anywhere. I feel extremely comfortable right now. I could seriously climb a mountain in this setup, and then boom, like I'm ready to like start taking photos like that quickly. So freaking love this setup. It's so good. So then I get to the top of the mountain, and then what do? I take these off because I don't like usually shoot an elopement with this setup. Sometimes I have, if I needed to like be quickly able to be moving from place to place. Didn't like have a huge amount of time all in one spot. So once I get to the top, I would pull out, I still like to carry my dual camera harness. So I pull out my dual camera harness, open my bag, pull out my shoot sack that has my extra lens in it, and I'd put on my harness, have my shoot sack ready, and then so that way I'm not carrying my entire pack and I can just relax a little bit, hang out here for a couple of hours with like a more lightweight setup. All my extra water and food and stuff can stay in my bag and I need to hold it while I'm shooting. I can be more mobile, and then boom, I'm ready to go. Having two bodies, lenses. I can run around. I can always shoot on 2 different focal lengths. Help me get like a ton more variety for elopement photos. To be able to shoot on multiple focal lengths all the time, just switch between the 2, especially during ceremonies. That's incredibly useful. And if I need to grab an extra wide or like throw in a 12 photo really quick, they're literally right here. I don't have to run back to a camera bag or anything. So then I shoot, and then I would just pack it all back up the same way, have the same hiking setup on the way down. It is gold. Freaking love it. I've never found anything better that's commercially made. So I'm gonna put out a tutorial on like the length of strap you need. You need the best lobster clasp that I found there available on Amazon, because I tried, I think like 6 or 8 different lobster claws to find one that was like easy to open, but also like secure and like good, and that would fit on like 1/2 inch webbing. And then how exactly I'm attaching the straps to the bag and how to sew it with the sewing awl and all that stuff. So I'm excited to put that together. So that's kind of the hiking bag setup that everyone was asking about for hiking elopements. And that's been a game changer for me as far as being able to hike like extremely far with a lot of weight and not die. So I have hiked like genuinely hundreds of miles with this setup, and I vouch for it. It is freaking good. What if it's raining? Good question. If it is pouring while we're hiking, I pack all of my gear away. I stick those bodies with those lenses in the bag as well, like wrapped up in my puffy or something. I'm it's not a really funny meme. Yeah, I think it was yesterday that there's 2 types of photographers. The type of photographer that always puts their lens cap on as soon as they shoot, and then the other photographer who doesn't know where any of their lens caps are. Definitely the person who doesn't know where any of my lens caps are. I'm very rough on my gear. I see it as a tool. My gear gets really beat up throughout the season. I have it insured, and I am like replacing stuff a lot to make sure everything's in tip-top condition. So I'm not very precious with my gear. I don't feel the need to like have huge amounts of padding and like a Pelican case for my cameras. Like if you want to get like a big padded insert for your bag, that can work great. I found like my shoot sack works fine. If I need to throw extra stuff in it, it's like wrap it in a puffy, like wrap it in something I'm already carrying and already using. I don't want to add a bunch of extra weight to my bag just because I'm being precious about my gear. But then there's like Tori and Amber take much better care of their equipment than I do. And it's great. We have to replace stuff less. So do whatever you want. Okay. So yeah, Gabby, if it's raining, I put it on my pack, and I have the rain cover over my pack and my own rain jacket. If it's pouring, it's likely we're just trying to get somewhere, either up or down, and I'm not trying to take a lot of photos in the moment. I do have like an extra rain cover for, I might keep one body out with a rain cover on so I can continue taking photos. It just depends of like, are we done taking photos? Are we just trying to get down? Or is this part of the story that I'm telling because we're going up somewhere and this is the start of the experience? That I'd keep one body out with like a rain cover on it. And it's just basically this black sack that like, cinches tight to the lens, and it's just like a hood on the other side. So you just like stick your head in the hood and kind of shoot. And then when you're done, you just kind of fold it. It'd be hanging on my hip, and the top of the bag would just be folding, hanging over there. So, rain cover for my bag. It's Jesse's asking what the rain cover for my bag is. It's literally just the one that came with the bag. So it's just the Gregory one that fits over the whole pack and covers it. So, sweet. Any other questions about that? What brand is my harness? My harness is RL Handcrafts. So I like this harness. There's a lot of them on the market, but I like that one personally. Cool. Let's move on to what is all the other stuff that I bring to hiking elopement that is not camera gear related. So pro tip, this huge Osprey bag stays in my car all the time, and it is full of all the like other stuff that has no camera gear in it whatsoever. This is all the other stuff that I have in my car all the time for adventure elopements and for hiking elopements specifically. Some of it I stick in that Gregory bag and I carry it up with me. Not all of it. I'm not carrying that whole thing, but I'm gonna show you guys what's in there. So this is gonna be fun. Let's put this camera gear away and check this out. All right, what is in here? It's in this massive bag. This is, how many liters is this bag? I don't even know. Maybe like 55, possibly? I don't know. So, all right. So the first thing that I am gonna share on that I'm super stoked about is my Adventure Elopement Emergency Kit, which is freaking sweet. I love this thing. So this is like an Osprey toiletry bag, and it has freaking everything. This thing has got me more 5-star reviews than I think anything else, because it's my Mary Poppins bag that has freaking everything. So I'm gonna go over this in just a second, what's in this bag, but let's see what else is in here. I have two, like, I have an ultralight version of the emergency kit if I'm trying to save on weight or space, but if I can, I always carry that orange one chock full of stuff. So let's see what else is in here. This is a bag full of stuff that I've developed. Oh, it's a wasp. That's fun. That I've developed over time of like, if anyone's ever asked me for something, if I've ever been in elopement and been like, oh, I really wish I had that, that would have solved this whole problem. We prepare our clients thoroughly before they go on hiking elopements with us. We send them a gear checklist for hiking elopements to make sure that they bring. A lot of it is outdoor stuff, and then there's a lot of like non-outdoor stuff, like nude leggings, for example. These are the lifesavers of freezing cold mountaintop hiking elopements. Literally, these have saved lives. And then it has a whole bunch of other stuff, headlamps, micro spikes, a whole bunch of very useful things. And then number 2, you know, how to pack your dress into the bag, all that stuff. But if there's anything that I've learned, it's that the last couple of days of getting ready for an elopement, having eloped myself, and having done this for so many couples, they are chaotic. You're just trying to think of so many different things, and it is almost everyone forgets something. We've had couples that have exceedingly prepared, all the way to couples who have shown up for a 14-year elopement in flip-flops, and we've been able to make them all happen because we always have all the extra stuff that if there's something that's a deal breaker, if it's like, man, if they don't have this, their elopement can't happen, we have it all the time in our car to make sure that we are ultimately prepared, because there's no reason that something like a small piece of gear that a couple forgot in the chaos of packing for their elopement, especially in another state or something else, should ruin their experience. So we just want to make sure that that we are always as prepared as possible to make sure that we can save the day constantly. So be like heroes for them. So cool. What else is in here? I have multiple pairs of said nude leggings in different shades and colors. These are like fleece lined and like very stretchy. and have fit, you know, they fit like extra small to extra large. They're extremely, extremely stretchy. They're warm. They go under a dress. You can't see them, but they add like exceeding amounts of warmth. What else do we have? Like the biggest game changers for me for hiking elopements, because most of mine are in the mountains, is most of the time couples severely underestimate how cold it is going to be. And usually like battling the cold is one of the biggest challenges. So there's a ton of stuff in here to battle the cold. So what do we have? These cute little wool fingerless gloves. You can put, bride can put these on, stick a hand warmer in the palm, and boom, like so much happier. Smiling faces instead of like, ouch, my fingers are killing me. I have a couple other colors of these fingerless gloves for, you know, different preferences of color and whatnot. And then I have straight up plain black gloves. And you have no idea how many times these have been used by couples who forgot gloves. It's just such a simple thing that if you don't have gloves and your hands are freezing cold, there's almost nothing that you can do to fix that. So extra gloves, I have extra hats in different colors. I have an entire blanket in here. I have two, like, so it's one thing to remember to bring coats that keep you warm while you're hiking and like to take breaks in between, but it's another thing if it's like, if it's freezing cold and it's like literally not possible to take photos for more than 30 seconds without a coat on. I have two different like cute little, you know, shawls and little cardigans. This one's from Beholden that keep, can keep a couple very warm. This is made of wool actually, and it's super warm. Keep those in my car. So it's like, we get to a trailhead and it's like, I kind of go over another mental checklist with them. Do you guys have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? Hey, I have all these things. Like if we need to gear up, if we need to bring something that you guys didn't have, like I have everything. My car is like an REI store. Look, I have this, 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 and this. Boom. Saving the day for couples. What else do I have? I have little earmuffs, and instead of a hat, these are wool. I have a towel, which this is great because it's a travel towel and it packs super small, but this is like a full-size beach towel for like laying out and like changing at the top of a hiking elopement. I'd say the question like, do they hike in their clothes or do they get ready at the top? It depends on the length of the hike and it depends on what time of day. For sunset elopements, I've had a lot of couples hike up in their clothes so we can take a bunch of photos while we hike. But if it's like a 3,000 foot elevation gain, really long, then probably not. We're gonna hike up in hiking clothes, change at the top, do everything, change back, hike down. For sunrise elopements, almost everyone hikes up in hiking clothes, changes at the top, and then a lot of people hike down in their clothes afterwards. Some people change and hike back down too. So depending on the length of the hike and what time of day and if like what kind of photos we're trying to get. But this is just really nice to be able to like lay out on like, you know, a cold rock, like for like a bride to change on or groom to change on. If it's just like freezing and like, you know, you're changing shoes and you're, you know, it's just nice to have like something to kind of lay out. It kind of helps keep you warmer. I've found like so many different uses for this travel towel. We're hiking elopements. What else is in here? I have an entire box of hand warmers, toe warmers, and these things, oh my God. I wanted to try these for so long, and I've been trying them on the recent elopements that I've shot, especially the one I just shot in Patagonia, which was freezing cold. These things are game changers. These are like peel and stick body warmers. So imagine like a hand warmer, but if you're a bride, you can like stick it here, like on your boob, or you can stick it on your side or like right on the underside of your dress or like on your nude leggings. So it's like here, like I riding one of the brides in Patagonia, she, we just like lined the inside of her dress with these things. Don't stick them directly to your skin, stick them to your clothing. These get extremely warm and it's like this invisible layer of warmth. So these are like absolute game changers for hiking elopements. So I have an entire box of hand warmers, foot warmers, body warmers. These things probably have saved more lives than anything else in this kit. So what else do I have? I have extra yak tracks. I have black ones. I have clear ones. I got micro spikes. Snow stays on trails like well into July here in Colorado, and a couple is coming from Texas per se. Just don't believe you, even if you say it a million times. And so yak tracks for ice and snowy trails. I got extra bug spray. I got extra sunscreen. I got rain ponchos. I got an extra rain cover. If they have a pack and it doesn't have a rain cover in it, and say it has their wedding dress in it, a bunch of important stuff, their vows, stuff they don't want to get wet, and they don't have a rain cover, boom, I have one. I got headlamps. I got one for me, and I got one for couples. Like if you have a hiking elopement and they forget a headlamp, that's a serious problem. So we have extras. This entire box is full of snacks and espresso shots and 5-hour energies for sunrise hiking elopements, or just for anybody who's hungry or needs some caffeine at any point. These get used constantly. You have no idea. Like that's such an easy thing to forget. Like, you can remember everything else, but if you didn't like eat that morning, or you just been running around, or you know, like you underestimated how tired you'd be on a sunrise hiking elopement. And I'm like, here, have an espresso. It's like, oh my God, I love you. So, okay. Other question. Oh, I have a hairbrush in here. I think that's mostly it, this bag. So this stays in my car, help couples gear up before, MA says, this is amazing. It's like the Mary Poppins bag for elopements. Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So a bunch of people asked, what's the solution for packing a bouquet in a backpack? And this is it. This is my reusable solution. I used to use a plastic bag and paper towels, but this is like way more eco-friendly. You use it over and over again. This is just a normal terry cloth towel that I just like dunk in my water bottle, get wet. This wraps around the bottom of the stems of a bouquet. So the bottom of the stems are like wrapped in a wet towel, nice and happy with some water. Then the stems wrapped around with that in the bottom, go in the bottom of this, this like small dry sack. This then cinches around this. So we have the stems in the bottom, the bouquet on the top, and then this, it depends on the pack, but this basically gets jammed somewhere where it's sturdy and it's steady. So any kind of like an outside pocket, if a bag doesn't have an outside pocket, you can also put it in a top loading bag, and you just like, you have the stem sitting here, and you can just zip up both sides. And you just want to make sure that there's like a bunch of stuff like jammed on both sides of the stem, so it holds it really steady. So when you're hiking, that it's not going to just go all over the place. So that's the solution for putting bouquets in backpacks. So, all right, let's go to my favorite item. This, I'm yard sailing everywhere here, guys. Let's go back to this hiking emergency kit, hiking elopement emergency kit. Or it's really an adventure elopement emergency kit. Freaking love this thing. I think I'm just gonna turn this down so you guys can see what's in here. Cool. So I have, there's 3 compartments to this bag. This is my medical kit. This is what I call the bridal suite, and then this is the hair salon in this pack. So what's in here? So this, by the way, this is not, and I repeat, not like a full-blown giant emergency, like giant medical kit. There are a lot of things that are really important to have in your car, for example, that are not in here. I think it's literally still in my car right now, but I have a giant, like huge first aid kit from the Red Cross that I keep in my car at all times. But this is the stuff that I'm like hiking with. And again, you can also get these great like, what are these called? Adventure medical kits. So like a lot of the stuff that's in here is in here. I have this one as like an extra like ultralight version where it's like mostly focused just on medical stuff, and I only have a few wedding related things in it. This bag has everything. So what do we have in the first aid kit? I have antibiotic cream. I got a ton of different useful medications. I got Excedrin. This is what I take if I'm getting an altitude headache at like 13.5, 14K. feet because it has a tiny bit of caffeine and aspirin in it. Not everyone can take aspirin, be aware of that. I got Advil, I got Benadryl for allergies, I got Dramamine for motion sickness and nausea. I have these ginger chews for nausea, for altitude, headache. Got some eye drops. This is all medication. Got alcohol swabs with antibiotic cream. I got a multitude of different kinds of Band-Aids. And we got blister Band-Aids, blister gels, and these are pre-cut moleskins for blisters. These are some of the things that are used a lot. There's so many couples who buy like brand new shoes for their hiking elopement and haven't hiked many miles in them before, and like blisters are a big thing. So having blister solutions is super good. So basically, yeah, there's a huge amount of stuff in there. Again, it's not an entirely full-blown first aid kit. So basically, have first aid stuff. These meds can be a game changer. I mean, think about something so small as like, oh, I have a headache, and that's how annoying that is, and how annoying that would be to have on your elopement day. And oh man, do you have any Advil? Like, yes, I do. Oh my gosh, I love you. You saved the day. That's the whole goal of that. So cool. So that's the first aid kit part of this bag. What else is in here? So this middle part I call the bridal suite, and it's full of a whole bunch of things that I learned are useful for weddings, actually kind of a little bit more in my bigger wedding career, but still extremely useful for elopements. I got some hand sanitizer in here, especially if couples are like having a hiking picnic. Like, you don't think about stuff like this, but like maybe they were like climbing on some rocks. You're like, oh, I'm supposed to eat charcuterie with my hands. Oh wow, like you have hand sanitizer, like game changer. I got a mini sewing kit. There's also, where is it in here? Oh, I also have mini sewing kit with like extra black and white thread for sewing things. I got super glue. I have emergency hand warmers. Like, I just never want to be caught dead without these hand warmers for for hiking elopements. I got sunscreen. I got tissues / toilet paper. I have a mini lint roller. I have a Tide to Go pen. These things are freaking magic. I've gotten like a straight up dress stain off a bride's boob with this Tide to Go pen. It's amazing. I got a multi-tool in here. This one even has a wine bottle opener, which is super useful, and like mini scissors and very useful things. I got Blistex, I got chapstick. It's super, super dry here in Colorado, and couples really underestimate it and don't realize how dry it is. And like, they're like, oh, I'm supposed to kiss you, but my lips like hurt. They're so dry. Oh, here you go. These are like little fashion tapes of just like, oh my gosh, this bra strap keeps moving. Oh, this like things keep slipping. Like this dress doesn't fit me as well as I thought, or I lost some weight, or I gained some weight. I need to, you know, this isn't fitting me right. Okay, cool. We got like a bunch of clear, sticky, double-sided tapes. Let's fix it. Or hey, like the zipper on my dress broke. It's like keeps. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. I have a bunch of bobby pins. I got white. I got black. I got silver. Already talked about the super glue. So yeah, that's a freaking good solution. Let's pack all this stuff away into the bridal suite. Bunch of super useful stuff just to have all the time. Every single thing that is in this kit I have had the need for or wish that I had and didn't have, and now I do. So every time I get to pull this thing out and use it, I feel like superwoman. So what else is in here? These are my favorite type of bug repellent. These are natural bug repellent, and they're wipes. They're not like a cream or a spray, and they're so nice. You just pull out a wipe and you just wipe it on your skin. So it's like way less messy, especially if like someone's wearing a wedding dress. They really appreciate these. Or you can put them on your neck or your face, and like they're not gross. They don't have DEET in them. They're super, super good. I have an emergency. I have to poop in the wilderness bag, and then you got the toilet paper in here. So don't be caught dead without one of these guys. If you're in a place you can't bury your shit. So that's super useful. I have before used such a plastic bag. All right, and then this is the beauty salon. So we have hairspray, we got extra hair ties, we have dry shampoo for, oh my gosh, like I hiked up here and now my bangs are really greasy. I have bangs, that's a problem all the time, so freaking love this dry shampoo. I have all different shades of bobby pins in here, and I have little straight pins with those ball heads to put on like boutonnieres or like fix things and pin stuff. There's a mirror in here. The cool thing about this toiletry kit from Osprey is it comes with a mirror. Like literally it's built in. There's like Velcroed on here. This mirror is like lightweight, not actually glass, very useful. I got a comb. I got tweezers. Oh my gosh, I got a splinter. It hurts so bad. Here, I got you covered. Oh my gosh, I have a hangnail. Oh, my nail just broke. It's driving me nuts. Like it keeps catching on my dress or his suit when we hug. Like, let's fix it. Cool. So this is the sweet Adventure Elopement Emergency Kit, which is awesome. And it has a beauty salon, a bridal suite, and it has a first aid kit in it. And it all packs. I like did a crappy job at repacking it, but it's still gonna work. It all packs into this one like ultralight toiletry bag from Osprey. Unbelievable. So useful. Okay, cool. I'm gonna pull up the questions and see if anyone has any questions about hiking and logistics that we've gone over so far. Anyone want to drop any questions in the comments? Let's see what else we have going on here. Okay, so there's a bunch of people that asked about what do you do if it's a backpacking elopement, like an overnight stay? Obviously, this bag that I showed you is just my day pack. So this is just for day hikes. So, so you know, like 12 to 15 miles or less. I'm using that day pack because I don't need like a tent or all the other stuff. I can just pack it full of snacks and water and all the things and all my gear, and I'm good to go. So that is my Osprey backpacking backpack over there, which also has this strap system on it, so I can hike for a longer backpacking elopement with that same setup. That's the cool thing about this bag hack is you can hack any bag. You don't have to be stuck to whatever some sort of like company has. You can make any hiking or backpacking bag into a adventure elopement hiking bag. So it's a cool thing. So essentially like the timing and the timeline of it, i.e. it would depend a lot on the location. I'm a big fan of alpenglow and like getting super good lighting. So I would like either have been to that location before or be looking at it in like Google Earth Pro or something to see exactly what the lighting's gonna be like and be like, oh man, you get this sweet alpenglow at that spot at sunrise. So let's hike up the night before, let's camp, and then let's get up early and do your elopement at sunrise. That's what I did for my elopement in Peru. We hiked up, camped. I got up at like 3 a.m. to get ready in my tent. And then we set our vows at sunrise. So advantages of sunrise, place is usually less busy. Although like for like a distance that's like that far anyway, it's probably not gonna be very busy in general. Might be more busy at sunset. I don't know exactly. So, but if the lighting was way better at sunset, then I would suggest that we hike up, have plenty of time to like chill, like refix everything, dry shampoo the crap out of our hair. Or not my hair, their hair. And my hair would just be slicked back. And then we would do their photos at sunset. And then I was just, maybe we do something casual and fun at sunrise, like just photos of you guys making breakfast and hanging out and like casually wandering around. And then let's like take a bunch of photos on the trail and on the way down. So it would depend like if that location photographed better at sunrise or sunset. The key is to just build in like extraordinary amounts of time for hiking elopements. I usually budget when I'm building a timeline for hiking elopement 1 hour per mile of hiking. So if it's a 6 mile round trip hike, the very minimum amount of hours that I would advise and like really like let a couple book for a hike that long for an elopement is 6 hours. Not that it takes an hour to hike every single mile, but you're carrying so much more stuff than you normally would for a day hike. You're not trying to like just chuck it up the mountain. You're taking it slow, you're marinating in the wilderness, you're just like enjoying, soaking it in, and you're just trying to have a good time. You're not trying to like get a huge workout and get extremely sweaty and crazy. You take lots of breaks. You want to like, oh my gosh, there's an amazing view. Can we stop for a second? Or, oh, the stars just come out. Like, let's take some star photos, and those take forever. Like, You need extra time built in. The worst thing in the world is to feel rushed up a hike, to have all this gear on your back, and for you and the couple to be like, if we don't get our butts up this mountain, we're going to miss sunset or we're going to miss sunrise. Worst feeling ever. Do not do it. I always build, so it is so much better to build so much extra time. So if it's a 6 mile hike, 6 hours is like the minimum that I would do. That would give us plenty of time to like have a leisurely hike up, change, do a ceremony, do an hour or two of portraits, like have a solid amount of time, and then hike back down. So my coverage is continuous from the time we start hiking to the time we end hiking. Because of my setup, I am taking photos the entire time. It is all part of the story that I tell from beginning to end. So then a lot of times it's longer than that, because I show up like before we go on the hike to do getting ready photos, or maybe they want photos of their family back at their Airbnb, or after they come back, or they come back from the hike and they're celebrating. So it can be like, these can be very long, like extensive 12-hour or 2-day or more stories that I'm telling with these longer hiking elopements. So Rachel, hashtag marinating in the wilderness. Gabby has a quick question. Most common forgotten item or emergency used item. Most common forgotten item, maybe like headlamp. Like the most common forgotten items that are very like, you can't do a hiking elopement without, I'd say, are like headlamps and hand warmers. Those are the things that I am probably more glad than ever that I have those with me all the time, are headlamps and hand warmers for hiking elopements. Like you don't want to get, if you're shooting all the way till sunset up at like a place that's like 3 to 5 miles from a car, like you're going to be hiking down in the dark, and you need headlamps to do that. Is almost always colder than people realize in the mountains. You lose, 5-ish degrees per 1,000 feet in elevation. So it can be like 90, 100 degrees in Denver and 45 degrees on that mountain pass in August. And it's shocking to people. You just don't realize that. So cool. What else? Other questions? I had a whole bunch of people ask about, like there's so much stuff that can happen on hiking elopements. There's so much that's out of your control. Weather is a huge one. Wildlife, with high altitude mountain elopements, I would say if a couple like has not been to that altitude before, they don't know exactly how it's going to affect their body. So in planning for these hiking elopements, I have an extensive questionnaire that I send out that asks we all send out, that asks like very specific questions, like, tell me about your hiking experience. Tell me about your top 3 favorite hikes. Like, what elevation were those hikes? How long were they? What was the intensity? Did you enjoy them? What was comfortable? What was not comfortable? Like especially as hiking elopements and adventure elopements get trendier and trendier, there's gonna be more and more people that like the idea of them, but I don't think people do this out of like I'm trying to pull a fast one on my photographer. I think they do it just out of they have no idea what they're even saying yes to. Sometimes they don't know what they're signing themselves up for. If a couple is like not a hiking couple, they may think it's still amazing to hike for their elopement. And I have done hiking elopements and guided couples through that experience who are not hikers. But I'm not guiding them up a 10-mile, 3,000 foot elevation hike. We'll do a hike that's like appropriate for their skill levels. And sometimes that's a hard thing to assess. I've not always gotten it perfectly right. As many questions as I ask, ways that I prepare, all the extra gear that I have, like sometimes you get into a situation that is unforeseen, that is totally out of your control as a photographer. I've had a couple of experiences of, unexpected altitude sickness happen. And with altitude sickness, you can't just push through it. You have to get down in elevation. So I've had, I think 2 different elopements in the last 4 years where it was like, okay, we are hiking up. I can clearly see her hiking, his or her altitude sickness issues are just going to get worse. And we're running into a situation where I'm going to make a call as an outdoors person that this is not a safe situation. I'm going to explain it to the couple and say, hey, there's this amazing backup location nearby. I can see that you're not having, I can see that you're having a hard time. It's, you know, nothing to be ashamed of. Like, altitude affects people differently, can affect the same person differently, depending on how much sleep they've had, water they've drank, food that they've ate. You know, if they've been like running themselves ragged the week before their elopement, even like a very fit person can find themselves falling ill of altitude sickness because it's just hard on your body. And so that's one of the tips we send couples, like, drink tons of water, take care of yourself this week. If you're doing a sunrise elopement, you have to sleep before it, at least 5 hours, like practice going to bed early and getting up early. You know, we want their experience to be amazing, because if they're not having a good time, that's going to show in their photos. It is like directly correlating to the photos that you can take is directly correlated to like what a good experience and what a good time a couple is having. If they're not having a good time, you can't take beautiful, happy photos of them. It's just not possible. Some people more than others. I for sure cannot hide my face if I'm not feeling it. I just can't. So let's see. What was I saying? So having every single elopement that we photograph, we have at least one extremely solid backup option that's like already understood. Hey, if the weather is crap, like, this is our backup location. And I always like, you know, there's nothing for sure. There's nothing you can for sure count on with the outdoors. But I shot a hiking elopement in Mount Rainier National Park a couple years ago, where a couple days before their elopement, it was like they had this freak early snow and there were still wildfires. Like, half the park was closed to snow and then the half was closed to wildfires. Like, their entire like beautiful hiking elopement plan went out the window, and it was all about like us collaborating. And we had like backup ideas already in place, and then they ended up getting married on like in a little forest like on the side of the road, and it was extremely beautiful and emotional and stunning, and they got incredible portraits and a great experience, even though like it was totally different than what they had imagined. So from the beginning, from the first phone call, from, you know, people being on our site and our Instagram, make it very clear, like, there's nothing we can promise you when it comes to the outdoors. Like, these kind of elopements are for couples who are spontaneous and they, you know, are ready to go with the flow. And like at the end of the day, the most important thing to them is that they have a good time and have an adventure and get married. Like, that we can promise the couple, that we can always follow through with. We can't always follow through with the weather or with a certain location working out. So it's all about having backup plans, communicating with a couple all throughout the entire process to make sure that they're prepared for the experience that they are about to have, that we've assessed their level of experience and like done our absolute freaking best to align like what we have planned with their level of experience, that it will like exceed their expectations, versus getting couples into a situation where they were not expecting. You know, there are so many extra logistics and, you know, interesting conundrums that come into hiking elopements that I never had to think about as a traditional wedding photographer. It's literally a couple has picked a venue on a date, I show up and I shoot, rain or shine. It's not up to me, the end. But when you're helping a couple pick a hike and suggesting it, like, you are taking on like extra levels of liability just automatically. So have an extremely good contract that's super clear, that you can't guarantee everything, that there's things that are out of your control. Having that disclaimer again at the top of your location list, telling a couple that when you're on the phone with them, making sure that everything is crystal clear. Nothing is for sure. You can't promise a thing. I've done so many elopements in backup locations. Actually, some of my very favorite elopement photos have been taken in backup locations, you know, because it's like, you know, a couple gets into a mindset of like, you know what, like, I just love you and I'm happy to say my vows to you wherever that is. And so always being able to be flexible, always having extra ideas, being able to pivot on a moment's notice, knowing the area better than anyone else, being that guide. You're going to be the person that people look to. So I wanted to explain all this and show all of the experience and all of the stuff that goes into hiking elopements, because I really don't think it's something that someone should get into without understanding all of these things, because there's a lot going on there. You know, there's all these unforeseen things. They are like more risky. They are less predictable. They require like a much higher level of being prepared than any other type of, and there's more chance of stuff going wrong than any other type of elopement that I shoot. So someone who is like risk averse, or, you know, doesn't like when plans change, or has a hard time pivoting if something goes wrong. One of my own things with it is I always just kind of take on guilt and blame for stuff that's like totally out of my control and not my fault. And that's something that I've had to learn over time. Like, okay, it's like not my fault that it is raining. What can I do in this situation to help them have an amazing experience anyway? So actually some of my best like reviews from couples have been from couples who stuff has gone like very wrong and unforeseen on their day. And it was about my ability to turn it around for them, to go out of my way to make sure that they still had an amazing experience. I never think in my mind or say to a couple, that's not my job. It is my job to help them have an amazing experience. And I want more photographers to have that perspective and that opinion and that like attitude of service towards their couples. It makes such a huge, huge difference versus, you know, just being the person that's like, this is my job description, and if there's something that happens outside of that, that's not my job. You know, this helps so much for me not being able to say that's not my job. It's like, yeah, like all of this stuff is part of my job as a photographer and an experience provider. So I'm going to check the chat really quick for any other questions. If there's something that you guys have thought of through while I've talked that I haven't answered, I want to make sure that I answer it. Go ahead and drop any questions. So really, if I'm running into any situation that I judge to be dangerous, or, you know, with hiking elopements, it's really important. I have never tried to like, you know, force a fit of a ceremony location. Like the place that a couple says their vows is so important. And if I'm, you know, empathetically feeling like they are not feeling it, like I've done a hiking elopement before where it literally just rained on us for 7 hours as we were hiking up, and it was just still raining, and it was getting colder and colder and colder and colder. It was starting to turn into snow. The couple did not have, even with all the extra layers that I had, they did not have all the gear that they needed to be fully prepared for it. It was like, there was no views. It was like a whiteout. There was like clearly no, you know, there was just no way for this to be a comfortable like experience. It was completely outside of what they had expected. And it was me who said, hey, you know, like walked up and said, hey, I understand like this is not what any of us had in mind. I want to make sure that you know, like you do not have to say your vows here. You absolutely can. You don't even have to change it into your wedding clothes if you don't want to. You can read them in your hiking clothes right now. Or how about this? What if we hike back down, go get some soup in a cafe, warm back up, and let's see how the weather is. Let's go find another amazing location on like a different mountain pass. You know, I know this one over here that's always empty, doesn't require a permit, and we can just pivot and like you can have beautiful ceremony and take amazing photos over there. You don't have to do this right now. Like I have the rest of the day free. If I have the flexibility to be able to offer that to a couple, I always will. And with hiking elopements and with stuff that's just very risky and unforeseen like that, I'm not packing my schedule back to back to back to back because I want to be able to have that flexibility to offer a couple an out if something just goes catastrophically wrong. So it hasn't happened that often, but there's probably been 2 or 3 elopements in the past 4 years that just, due to unforeseen circumstances, it was just literally impossible for them to have their elopement on that day. Like whiteout, snowstorm, or just, you know, a bride was exceedingly sick, or, you know, just totally unforeseen weather. It was just miserable. And it was like, yeah, sure. I could have, you know, said, well, time's up. This is what you paid me for. I got to catch a flight. I'm out. Or it, you know, my flexibility of seeing like, hey, you know, I know that this is what you've hired me for. I'm going to go the extra mile to make sure that you have an amazing experience. I personally think that that's what it's all about, especially with elopements, where a couple has gone into it with the intention of like having such an amazing wedding experience, and it's just them, and they can pivot and they can change plans very quickly. Like being able to aid in that, to help with that is huge. Amber had an elopement last year in Yosemite right when that huge fire happened, and we were able within like 12 hours to be able to help that couple and their immediate family switch around their entire intimate wedding to being in Big Sur instead. Like that level of ability to pivot and change and be spontaneous and go with the flow, I think is like a really crucial personality trait for someone who's going to be successful at adventure elopements and hiking elopements. So, and also just like the comfortability with like a large amount of outdoor experience where you've like run into situations like this on a hike before. I have one time gotten caught in a very unexpected thunderstorm with a couple up on a hike. It's also happened to me before twice when I've hiked Fort 14ers on my own. It's a scary situation. It's not something that you want to get into, but it was like I was able to walk the couple through the safety procedures. We were able to get them down the mountain safely. Sunset was about to happen. It like totally threw a wrench in their plans, but the thunderstorm was so freak and it just like rolled over this bowl so you couldn't even see it coming. It was just like within 2 minutes, it was like we heard thunder and then it was right above us. Within 2 minutes, it was like clear blue sky. Besides that, it was super freaky. Those things happen in the mountains. We were like about to get to their ceremony spot and this rolled in. It was like, all right, no, like this is a very dangerous situation. We need to get down this second. And so, and then we were able to, thunderstorm rolled back out and we were able to like stop and do their ceremony like on the trail right where they were. Still get them amazing photos. Probably some of my favorite ceremony images ever. We were all just kind of like, whoa, like we just survived this like kind of scary freak experience together. Their ceremony was like extra emotional and just like, I love you. Like it was amazing. And it was beautiful. Basically every single elopement that I photographed, I've always made a way to work it out for the couple in the end. That's what I feel like my job is to work it out. I've never been in a situation where I wasn't able to work it out. Sometimes I had parameters that and I just had to do the best that I possibly could, but I've always been able to work it out for a couple. So, and that's how we have over 150 5-star reviews. So, let's see, I'm gonna check the chat really quick for questions. Do your brides usually wear makeup? How do you handle that? Yeah, I'd say like more than half of them do. Some of them don't. Really, I wore makeup for my own elopement, and so just like having extra stuff for touch-ups is key, and then having a really good setting spray is key. It's amazing what a really good makeup setting spray can be. There's one by Urban Decay that I swear is magic, and I've had several brides wear it, and like it can just rain on them, and their makeup is still flawless. It's kind of unbelievable. So having touch-up stuff and having a good setting spray is key for that. Yeah, unexpected stuff can happen. It's me being able to rely on my experience and on my preparation that makes me be able to work it out in the end. So huge amount of preparation, huge amount of research, huge amount of like being able to pivot in a moment's notice. That all goes into like having these successful hiking elopements. They certainly do not always go perfectly. They do not. Like it's really about preparing for the worst and hoping for the best in every single hiking elopement situation. So that was all that I had. I think I answered everybody's questions that they put in the group and several that people didn't ask that I wanted to talk about anyway. So really quick, if anyone else has any questions, like drop in the chat really quick. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the Facebook group and keep asking questions, keep being awesome. These are super fun. I hope this has kind of shedded some light on all the different crazy amounts of gear that you need to be able to kind of really rock a couple's hiking elopement experience and help you and your couples be prepared. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much. Talk to you later. Bye.